What if I told you that by understanding the Pokeball, you could understand one of the most notorious and seductive psychological mechanisms that video game companies use to keep you playing? And not only will it help you understand the gaming addiction mechanism, but it will also help you avoid one of the major pitfalls that ruins people's businesses, careers, and even relationships without them ever realizing it. Now, I have to give you a warning, because for some of you, this video may get uncomfortable and might also be the very wake-up call that you were not ready for. So a quick introduction, my name is Cam and I'm the founder of GameQueers.com. Over the past decade, I've worked with thousands of gamers, and the mechanism I'm going to talk about today is the one I see over and over again. And once my clients understand it, it's like a light bulb switch flicks in their brain and they no longer are stuck playing video games. Now, before I come back to the Pokeball, let's break down something first. Have you ever felt trapped by the game you're playing? Like it feels like a chore or a second job or even a prison sentence? You might be feeling like you hate the game and you've sunk hundreds or thousands of hours and countless all-nighters into it. Yet you can't just seem to quit. There's always something holding you back, like an invisible force that keeps pulling you in. And with each day, it only gets stronger. You tell yourself, I don't want to play this game anymore. Yet your mind will say things like, you can't quit now, or all the work you put in would be for nothing, or you might feel like you can't quit because then all your characters and stats would be gone. Well, this is the psychological mechanism I'm talking about, and it's called the sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy is when you keep throwing good money, time, or effort into something simply because you've already spent some money, time, or effort. For example, imagine you buy a $15 movie ticket and realize the movie is terrible 30 minutes in, but you stay and watch it until the end, so you can, quote, get your money's worth. From a purely rational perspective, once you've made the decision that you hate the movie, you would just get up from your seat and head straight to the door. By doing that, you cut your losses to the cost of the ticket plus however many minutes you've already spent. But if you watch the crappy movie to the end, you've wasted all that plus another hour or hour and a half depending on the movie. So pure logic says just cut your losses without delay. Invest the time you would have wasted on the movie into something else. But sunk cost fallacy keeps you watching to the end. Now, the sunk cost fallacy is a widely researched topic in economics and psychology. It's one of those bizarre biases that can have a massive negative influence and severely undermine a person's life. Think about someone holding onto a stock that's been dropping for years. They refuse to sell because they've already lost too much. Instead of just accepting the loss, they throw more money in, hoping it'll turn around. In reality, they're just digging the hole deeper. Or imagine a person staying in a toxic relationship because they've already spent 5 years with their partner. They tell themselves, I can't just walk away now, not after all this time. But every additional month only compounds their unhappiness. The same fallacy applies to video games, and it often results in gamers spending months or even years in a game that has long stopped giving them pleasure. By its very nature, the fallacy kicks in once the game stops being enjoyable. It starts after the fun has evaporated because that is the moment when the real payoff disappears. Up until that point, enjoyment itself is the reward, so no rationalization is needed. But now the brain must find a new justification to keep playing. Once the fun is gone, two psychological mechanisms engage. First is the switch to reframing the situation in terms of losses. When the game was truly fun, the enjoyment itself justified those earlier investments in time, energy, battle passes, levels, achievements, and so on. But now the mind reframes the situation from I'm playing to have fun to if I quit now, everything I've built is gone. And this is where our understanding of the Pokeball comes in. In the case of the Pokeball, you might have already spent hundreds of hours trying to catch all the Pokemon, yet your Pokedex is not complete. You don't enjoy the game anymore, it's gotten monotonous, and you don't have extra time to waste on pointless pixels. Yet you keep playing. Your mind reframes the whole situation. You're no longer playing for fun. Instead, you're playing because if you quit now, think about all the hundreds of hours that you spent catching rare Pokemon, and that would just make it all not worth it. Couldn't have been for nothing. This reframing is very important because of a natural human bias called loss aversion. Simply put, people feel the pain of losing something they directly possess more strongly than the pleasure of gaining something new. So the prospect of losing all the hours, all the unlocks, and all the paid extras in the game you're playing stings far more than the relief of reclaiming your free time. This makes walking away feel like the costlier option, even though in reality it's the only way to stop the bleeding. The gaming industry knows this and leverages this human bias as a Pokeball to catch you and keep you stuck playing, often introducing more things to unlock, more quests to complete, and more upgrades to buy, each one increasing the pain of quitting. The second mechanism that kicks in is the threat to your identity as a gamer. Many players turn to gaming because they struggle in their real life. Others may be dealing with feelings of inadequacy or depression. These gamers often feel that offline nobody really pays any attention to them, but online, in the world of the game, there's someone important. So abandoning a high-level character or an almost completed game threatens that identity. And I'm not even necessarily talking about spending more time in the real world. Even if they switch to playing a different game, they will have to start from scratch, being a total noob. The more the player keeps on playing at this point, the stronger the fallacy becomes. Each additional minute or dollar spent gives more confirmation that the project is now too big to fail. This perpetuates the cycle and makes stopping ever more difficult. Another difficulty is that many games are shared worlds and you have real life people who are counting on you. So you keep on logging in to avoid letting your online friends down, even if you'd rather be doing something else with your time. This is all made worse by the fact that video game developers engineer this sunk cost bias into their games. Features like in-game transactions, customization, battle passes, time-limited events, and daily streaks. These are all effective, at least in part, because they exploit the sunk cost fallacy. And as you know, these features are really everywhere in modern games. Even a seemingly innocent notification that informs you that you're only X% to the next milestone is a sunk cost trap by design. So I'm curious, have you ever felt trapped by the sunk cost fallacy? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Now, the interesting thing is that the sunk cost fallacy can happen to you anywhere in life. Video games are just one very good product at exploiting it. You'll see this behavior in gambling, where a gambler on a high losing streak will feel like all these losses were for nothing if he doesn't come out with a big win, digging bigger and bigger holes for themselves. Or you'll see it in business owners that spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a business idea that has no product market fit, yet they keep investing as they would have to change their IG bio from entrepreneur to failed entrepreneur. But the good news is that now that you know about it, you can catch it early and not let it ruin your life. So if you find yourself investing countless hours and effort into a game and you're beginning to suspect that you're actually doing it for the wrong reasons, here's what you can do. First, look yourself in the eyes, like literally going to a mirror, and ask yourself, if all my gear, all my levels, all my leaderboard spots disappeared, would I still play this game? Or ask, if I had never started this game and discovered it today exactly as it is, would I even begin playing? If the honest answer to these questions is no, then fear of wasting what you already earned is probably the main motivation for you to continue to play. The instant that fear outweighs genuine fun, the game has flipped from entertainment to basically being a pointless grind. It's time for you to either give up the game completely or at a minimum put it aside for a couple weeks and revisit it with fresh perspective. But how do you do this in the first place? How do you overcome the sunk cost bias that keeps you locked in? The only way to do this is by bringing clarity to the situation. So put all emotion aside for a minute and look at the cold hard facts. And the facts are as follows. First, the past is gone for good. All the hours you already poured in cannot be refunded. But most importantly, they cannot be lost. And they cannot be lost because they simply no longer exist. It is simply not possible to lose something that does not exist. Then there's all the achievements and levels you've unlocked. These also don't exist in any meaningful sense. They were fun back in the day, but now they are just a string of digital zeros and ones on a server somewhere randomly in the world that will one day be wiped or sold or scrapped. There's literally nothing there. The present and the future are the only things that are real. And if you continue playing, the future is predictable. More emptiness, more grinding, more time sucked into something that you're not enjoying. Whereas if you stop, the future is also predictable. You regain your freedom, your energy, and the chance to invest in something that will actually matter to you tomorrow. So the real choice isn't between losing what you've gained so far versus not. The real choice is between continuing to waste your life today and tomorrow for an unfulfilling activity that feels like a job versus doing something else that feels genuinely pleasurable and fulfilling. So if you want to know exactly how to quit gaming for good so you can pursue a life of meaning and purpose, then watch the video on your screen right now, and I'll see you there.